You know who else is a beast is Wemby. First ever
Oh, man.
unanimous defensive player of the year. They play tonight against a Trailblazers team. They just seem to be just I like Portland. I liked them in the playing game. I believe you and I both were
Yeah,
all
we
over them.
both had him. Yep.
Yeah, we both had them. I love this Trailblazers team. They're just a little bit outgunned here. But we're talking point spreads here. So minus 11.5 over under 220.5. How do you see this game?
Well, I'm going to look at the first half point spread here, where we're seeing San Antonio anywhere from a 6.5 as much as an 8.5 point first half favorite. And that's alarming to me because anytime I see a point spread, first half point spread favorite, which the game point spread is, they're minus 11.5. They're as much as minus 8.5 in the first half. So that tells me the odds makers fully expect San Antonio to come out smoking once again. And their track history will prove that they've done that. I mean, they played San Antonio's played Portland 4 times this year, 3-1 straight up at ATS against the first half number. This is the third meeting in the last 14 days between these teams. And the last two, San Antonio in game 1 led by 10 at the half and also led by 10 in the last regular season game they played each other. The Spurs, by the way, in the first half this year, 56-27 against the spread, 67.5%. That includes 15-3 against the spread in the first half. Over their last 18 games, that's 83%. And this is a San Antonio team that averages 119.6 points per game. And why do I mention that? Well, because Portland is 3-4 against 3-14, against the spread in their last 17 games against the first half number when facing teams like San Antonio that average 116 points or more. And lastly, Portland 1-6 against the spread this year when facing teams like the Spurs that have, and that's on the road, 1-6 against the spread on the road against the first half number when facing an opponent like San Antonio with a 700 or better win percentage right now. San Antonio has exactly a 750 win percentage on the season. So I'm going to lay the points with San Antonio in the first half. I would go -8 or less first half point spread bet on San Antonio. You can get 6.5 right now at, I believe, FanDuel at -118. Most books have them at 7.5.
All right, first half in Trailblazers versus Spurs. It is $5 Tuesday. Ross, what do you have rocking?
I'll have one NBA, one Major League Baseball, one NHL winner. And you know what, folks? The NBA playoffs since 2021, 154 and 108, 59% up, 135.94 units, 5-1 with my last 6 in the NBA playoffs, 10-4 in all sports since Friday. And visit me at wt.buzz/RB to get all my daily packages, as well as some of the great all access plans we got going right now at WagerTalk.com.
All right, Rockets and Lakers here. Kind of a tough one here to break down. I'm going to check the Kevin Durant, but he's just going to be questionable, probably pretty close to a game time decision. What do you do with this game?
Yeah, questionable at playoff time usually means probable when it comes down to it. But in any event, look, I know you guys mentioned the zigzag theory, and if you wanted to use that theory, you certainly would come back with the Rockets here. But the Rockets is a 2.5-point favorite in game 1. Were shut down completely in a 107-98 loss against the Lakers. And the Lakers 3-1 straight up in ATS against Houston this year, and that includes 2-0 straight up in ATS in their last 2. And in those last 2 against Houston, including game 1 of the playoffs, they shot a combined 60.6% and 49% from beyond the three-point line. As a matter of fact, the Lakers shot over 60% in game 1, and Portland shot just a tad over 37%. And I'm going to get to why I mentioned those stats in just a bit. The Lakers, despite their injuries, And again, they'll be without Austin Reeves and Luka once again, and you're taking 56 points per game out of the lineup, guys. But that didn't seem to matter in game one. And I think they'll be fine in game two. As a matter of fact, the Lakers, by the way, 4-0 straight up in ATS in their last four, dating back to the end of the regular season, winning those 4 games by 19.3 points per contest, despite those key injuries. And here's why I mentioned the shooting percentages in game one, specifically for the Houston Rockets. Since the 1998-99 NBA playoffs, home teams like the Lakers that are facing an opponent that shot 40% or worse in their previous game, and that same opponent allowed their opposition to shoot 60% or better in their previous game, 30-3 straight up since 1998-99. It's a 91% win rate. Yeah, it's a straight up betting system. However, the straight up betting system backs the underdog in this spot. And I am going to go with the LA Lakers once again, plus 2.5 over the Houston Rockets.
Do you believe really hardcore in the zigzag theory, Ross?
I think it was a lot more effective before it became widely known how effective it was. And I would venture to say in recent years, it's leveled off a bit. I know probably if you go back 5 years ago, it was an excellent way to go. It's still not bad, but it's not as dominant as it was prior to probably the 2020 season. So I pay attention to it, Andy, but I'm not married to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. So, I mean, once these things start getting out there, the books know it.
Yeah.
So you may know it, but it's not like the books are, complete. Oh, what's this zigzag theory? We've never heard of this before.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing when in college football or college basketball, when you got an unranked team favorite against a ranked team. Now, the unranked team used to be a high percentage play. It's leveled off a lot. And like you said, Andy, good point. Is once that gets around, we're living in an age of social media right now. Everyone can't wait to share any kind of information like that. And it gets stale. And the books overcompensate for it. So
well, and Ross, you kind of even explained it the way that you were breaking down that game. You mentioned, Rockets favorites in game one, albeit small favorites, they lose outright. And it is baked in that, now this team, they're not going to lose 2 at home. Now you got to lay 5 with them, and it's moving north of that. So to your point, Ross, and to Andy's point as well, you're not sneaking up any of your formulaic things on these odds makers. You know what I mean? That's why you never go into a casino or you never go into the sports book and see a burnt out bulb right there, Ross. They know what they're doing a little bit.
By the way, they're on the road, Dan, and I would put a lot more stock in that, what you alluded to, if they were coming off that loss and they're playing at home, Yeah. But again, they're playing on the road in 2 consecutive games, and the Lakers, they're a 2.5-point dog because of the 2 players I mentioned that are out, and they're key players, but they've responded very well. How long that lasts, I don't know, but I'm willing to ride that right now.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Ross. Anything else you're taking away from NBA playoffs so far?
Good question.
We're seeing a lot of unders early on, so and we're seeing the numbers start to drop. So be wary of that, because if you look at the totals in the NBA right now, just today, and you look at the regular season matchups between those opponents, you'll see a noticeable difference in what the average totals were during the regular season in those head-to-head matchups as opposed to what they are now. And some of that has been even adjusted more because of the plethora of unders we've seen so far in the NBA postseason. So sooner or later, that tide's going to turn. Don't fall in love with a over or an under because it's been doing good for the last 3 or 4 days, because the books know that too. And the books prey on people falling in love with those types of things and making the proper adjustment.